Good morning. Good Tuesday morning, and Tuesday morning means the parking lot of Sprouts Farmers Market. Anyway, we're coming up on the climax of the Thelemic High Holy Days of 2022 EV, and we'll end on April 8th, 9th, 10th with the 3 days of the writing of the Book of the Law, the feast for the 3 days of the writing of the Book of the Law. And just coming up later this month, I think, Constance and I are going to be hosting a little lecture, a little class in our backyard, weather permitting, for members of the local Thelemic community who are interested in the Gnostic Mass. And so it'll be sort of a discussion and a run through and a demonstration for those individuals who are interested in celebrating the Gnostic Mass, particularly those who would like to assume the roles and the duties and responsibilities of priest, priestess, and deacon. So that's coming up a little later for those of you in the Sacramento area. If you're interested in more information, you can go to the Facebook page for 418 Lodge, 418 Lodge, Sacramento on Facebook. There should be an event details there. Anyway, keeping that in mind, I want to do just a little short discussion of the Gnostic Mass itself as a universal formula rather than a specific religious ceremony, but more focused on it as a formula in and of itself, which is totally universal and separate from any particular religion or organization or anything like that. Here's something that Constance and I wrote for our Mass seminar, which is like an all-day thing, so don't worry, I'm not going to burden us with that at the moment. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And I'll quote Crowley here. This single supreme ritual is the attainment of the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. Now that's a big statement, okay? The single supreme ritual is the attainment of the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. It is the raising of the complete man in a straight vertical line. Any deviation from this line tends to become black magic. Any other operation is black magic. Unquote. Near the end of the ceremony of the Gnostic Mass, the priestess magically assumes the identity of the goddess Nuit, or Nu. And the priest assumes the identity of the god Hadit, or Had. Now, simply Kabbalistically spelled, Nu is Nun Vav, and Had is simply He Dalet. The first 5 words of the Book of the Law are had, the manifestation of Nuit. Our holy prophet commented upon these words thusly: in Nu is Had concealed. By Had is Nu manifested. Nu being 56 and Had 9, their conjunction results in 65. Adonai, the holy guardian angel. In Nu is Had concealed, by Had is Nu manifested. Compare that to the opening lines of the Tao Te Ching. Just saying. The law is for all, and as fascinating as the study of Thelemic magic may be for many of us, the fact remains that the vast majority of the population will never be attracted to the theories and techniques that we discuss every morning here. Nor should their disinterest in the technical aspects of magic exclude them from embracing the law of Thelema, or applying the formula of the new aeon to their lives. Like the Roman or Orthodox Mass of the Aeon of Osiris, Liber 15, which is the technical title of the Gnostic Mass, Liber 15, serves to bring the community together to affirm a common creed and provide an opportunity for all to participate directly in the magical formula of the age. However, in order for all to participate directly in the magical formulae of the Mass must be conducted in such a manner as to actually communicate those formulae. And it takes only a slight change of focus on the part of the ritual team or the congregation to degenerate the Mass from a ceremony of the religion of the future to a ritual that echoes the spiritual formulae of the past. In the east, that is, the direction of Boleskine, there is a shrine or a high altar. This shrine supports the stele of revealing, the Book of the Law, and the sacred elements of the Eucharist, wine and host. The high altar is the focal point of the worship service known to us as the Gnostic Mass. This is where the magic takes place, in the aeon of the crowned and conquering child. Everything that is said and done in the other areas of the temple are merely preparatory acts to the magic that will take place on the high altar. This high altar is elevated above the rest of the temple. It is set upon the top level of a dais of 3 steps. This is the high place of the temple and an appropriate setting for the supreme magical climax of the ceremony. Once the priest has taken her seat, or taken her place upon the high altar, and the veil is drawn before the shrine, the priest ascends the high altar by 3 steps. 3 steps of the dais. As he does so, he halts at each step, and he and the priestess and the deacon poetically reveal a fundamental mystery of this worship service. That is, the formula of worship in the Aeon of Horus has evolved step by step from the formulae of the two previous aeons. Now we could look at it this way. The first step represents the Aeon of Isis, the age of the goddess, and it's on the first step that the goddess is worshipped in the Gnostic Mass. Here, the priestess is identified as Nuit. It is on the first step that the priest sings, O Nuit, continuous one of heaven, let it be ever thus that men speak not of thee as one, but as none, and let them speak not of thee at all, since thou art continuous. And it's while standing on the first step that he hears the priestess deliver her beautiful, but to love me is better than all things, if under the night stars in the desert thou presently burnest mine incense. That beautiful thing from the Book of the Law. Now, as worshipers, we could stay on the first step, worshiping the goddess and adhering to her formula forever. Indeed, many people do just that. But we, the children of the Aeon of Horus, adore the goddess not as an end, but as a means. We linger on the first step only long enough to activate the formula of the goddess within ourselves, to prepare for a wedding. Only long enough to allow ourselves to be aroused by the essence of her divinity before stepping up to the next level of worship. The second step. We could look at it this way. The second step represents the Aeon of Osiris, the age of the dying god. And it's on the second step that the priest is identified as the god Hadit, the inscrutable lover at the very center of the infinite body of Nuit. Quote, I am the flame that burns in every heart of man and in the core of every star. I am life and the giver of life, yet therefore is the knowledge of me the knowledge of death. And reminiscent of Osiris, Krishna, Christ, and every other dying god, he goes on to say, I am life and the giver of life, yet therefore is the knowledge of me the knowledge of death. Now, as worshipers, we could stay on the second step, worshiping the dying god and adhering to his formula forever. Indeed, many people do just that. But we, the children of the Aeon of Horus, adore the dying god not as an end, but as a means. We linger on the second step only long enough to activate the formula of the dying god within ourselves, only long enough to snatch the vibrating pulse of life and death from the patriarchal Lord, in order to prepare for a wedding that we'll celebrate on the third and final step. It's upon the third step that we achieve synthesis. It's upon the third step the mystic marriage will be consummated. It's upon the third step that the object of worship will appear. Rahur Kuit, the crowned and conquering child, the child of the goddess and the god of the last two aeons. We give thanks and respect to the goddess and the priestess who embodies her. But at the end of the Mass, it's not she whom we worship. It is not she whom we adore. It's not she with whom we commune. We give thanks and respect to the God and the priest who embodies him. But at the end of the Mass, it's not he whom we worship. It's not he whom we adore. It's not he with whom we commune. As we'll see, the Mass of the Gnostic Catholic Church is an enactment of a great and wonderful magical secret. And the goal of this secret is the creation of a child. Whether that child is the material or emotional object of your heart's desire, or knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel. It's true, without the goddess and the god, the child would not be born. But those who would treat the Gnostic Mass as a ceremony of goddess worship are missing the point entirely. With all the other worshippers of the Aeon of Isis, they cannot rise above the first step of worship. Those who would relegate the Gnostic Mass to a ceremony of phallus worship are also missing the point entirely. Like worshippers of the Aeon of Osiris, they cannot rise above the second step of worship. At the end of the ceremony, each of us should be standing spiritually on the third step of worship. Our attention focused with full concentration not upon the priestess and not upon the priest, but upon the child, as embodied in the host and wine. Only those who have achieved, then transcended the arousal of the goddess. Only those who have achieved, then transcended the concentrated potency of the god. Only those who have annihilated both god and goddess in ecstasy can stand on the third spiritual step and then consume and then become the child of their union. Only those who have taken the third spiritual step are worthy to be called worshippers of the Aeon of Horus. And once again, just to recap, near the end of the ceremony of the Gnostic Mass, Near the end of the ceremony of the Gnostic Mass, the priestess magically assumes the identity of the goddess Nuit or Nu, and the priest assumes the identity of the god Hadit or Had. The first 5 words of the Book of the Law are Had, the manifestation of Nuit. And if we recall, the opening line of the 2nd chapter is Nu, the hiding of Hadit. Our holy prophet commented upon these words thusly: in Nu is Had concealed. By Had is Nu manifested. Nu being 56 and Had 9, their conjunction results in 65. Adonai, the holy guardian angel. And that's where we will end today. A little later this week, we will be getting right into each of the 3 chapters of the Book of the Law that were dictated to Crowley April 8th, 9th, and 10th in Cairo, Egypt in 1904 EV. Until then, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Constance is inside the store. Otherwise, she would join me in saying, love is the law, love and her will.